David Dobrik is facing backlash again after we catch a glimpse at the failed stunt, which showed Jeff Wittek getting his face busted on being swung around on. First of all, who's seen this? Did you guys see this?
I heard about it, haven't seen it.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, so he put out a video, I guess months in the making, because this thing happened a long time ago. It led to the stoppage of Dobrik's vlogs, is my understanding, and the footage been sitting there. And then you had the whole separate controversy, which maybe delayed things further. And then you had the physical injury. So Jeff Wittek had this eye patch, and he had a busted eye, and nobody knew what the reason for it was. Now he's releasing content, which is going into the story of what went down. And I guess the most recent episode, which is up there on trending, is showcasing the accident that took place. And people are being harsh to Dobrik because he was the driver. I mean, there's a clip where he's got like one hand on the excavator and one on his camera, and he's swinging it, and it's like a 2-foot lake. And you're sitting there thinking, you're doing the calculations, Yeah. Beautiful mind style. You're doing the calculations, and you're like, can't really work out over here. This can't really work out. So anyway, I think you can play a little bit of the clip. I don't know if it's embedded in this article. Oh, you got to go to YouTube because it's age restricted. I don't know what portion of it's age restricted. I think there's maybe some profanity in there as well. So, but you can just fast forward. Oh, you're not signed in. Wow, riveting stuff. Willie do signs into Google. I'd watch that channel all day long. Holy cow! They really want to make sure that you're ready for what you're about to see. You can skip to the 3/4 mark.
Okay.
And no, 3/4. Yeah, more around here. More. Now you're in the right neighborhood. So you can see this is the idea.
Oh.
Excavator in about 2 feet of water and swing some people around. Now at this point, it seems like, all right, well, they're on the water. At least they're not airborne, and they got wakeboards and whatnot spinning around. But then it escalates to people kind of climbing the rope a little bit and getting swung around that way. And so here is the moment. And it starts. This is, Jack's already worried. Now she survives, but she yells at him like, hey man, she's screaming to get off. The next guy, not so much. This is when Jeff grabs on and he begins to spin over here. And you can see the disaster that's about to take place when you witness the amount of air.
That's a big swing.
And you realize it can't end well because that rope has to come back towards. Okay, you can pause it. We can't do the whole thing. So, I mean, he edits it in such a way that you don't really see the impact. But if you've ever like swung a ball, you know exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Once you let the speed go, it comes back in. Mm-hmm. You would either have to slow down very gradually.
Yeah.
Impossible. And to be, you're not an excavator expert. So anyway, Jack, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, these guys, they live in a fantasy world, right? Like their whole lives are lived through these screens and these little videos. And they forget that there's a whole reality out there of like things like this actually happening.
People can die.
Yeah. And,
Oh, wow, you're very upset. Jack's going for the jugular here. I think I'm not going to defend it, but I'm going to say sometimes you get caught up. What happens is, you're about to have a viral clip, and it almost acts like everybody is on some sort of a high collectively. Like it's like if you've ever been in a circumstance where you're with a group of guys, it's like, you won't do it. You've seen it, man. You've seen it time and time again. And when you were with that group of guys, when you were younger, there were no cameras on. You didn't have the added element of, millions of people are going to see this. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying it's a good idea. It's obviously a disaster. The guy's lucky to be alive is what I'm going to go out and say, because he came and smacked straight into the arm on that excavator, which is steel with great velocity. He actually broke
his face.
His face. He broke a portion of his skull. and he's lucky to have the eyeball, and it's serious, a serious thing. And I think that for me, the way I look at this and the word I would put out on it is the responsibility that exists with the viewer. That when you're on here watching stuff, like if this ended up in one of his vlogs, it would have been like a 20-second thing. Like, we're so crazy. Whoa. Isn't that like, look at our lives. And then meanwhile, you see it from the other side and you start to think about the behind the scenes and you start to think about the risks that are being taken. And here we have one example, but you don't know how many times it was close and never ended up public. How many other risks were taken along the way, and who was the most likely to suffer from those risks?
Yeah.
So as a viewer, you have. I think you got to try to see through the fabrication. Whether you're watching a vlog, a fancy vlog, an edited piece of content, a family vlog, things being presented in a certain way, only showing you a glimpse into the process that it took to get there. That if you want to know the reality of the situation, you have to imagine all the pieces that it took to get there. And the same goes for this right here. Because if he doesn't smack his face, we never see this. It ends up as a 20-second fun clip, like the greatest time ever. But he does smack his face and everyone goes, oh, damn, what were we watching?
Yeah.
Reality check.
Like that would have been a manslaughter charge.
Yeah.
If his head explodes when he hits, if he has a little bit more velocity, you have a manslaughter charge. Or something like it.
Paralyzed.
Sure.
You know?
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Jackass first came out and you had all those copycats of those kids going out and doing those stunts. But you kind of forget that there's a level of professionalism that comes to doing these stunts. And it takes coordination. It takes understanding of things like velocity and all these things to like pull it off.
Well, just step one, you're making millions of dollars. Just get an excavator driver.
Right.
Just get a guy who basically knows, if I swing him like that, here's what's going to happen. Or I can't swing him that fast. It's not going to work. Or here's a release latch on the rope. If you start swinging in towards the thing, you can at least release and land in the water. I know it was only like 2 feet of water, but these are the type of things you'll even hear Rogan talk about to this day about Fear Factor taking risks. And they had the professionals on set. They had the paramedics. They had everything necessary. But it's a bit of a wake-up call for YouTube in general, as it has increasingly become professional from the standpoint of advertisers, from the standpoint of all these things. And then now it's not like you can't go out and do crazy things. And ultimately it's up to you. Ultimately, he chose to jump on the thing, but there's definitely a way to do it. You want to do crazy stunts, there's a way to do it to at least limit risk. But even in Jackass, even they had crews and people still got injured. It's a risky business. This type of content is a risky business. And to be fair, it's a lot of risky businesses. You mentioned Jake Paul. I mean, getting punched in the head is a risk. It's just a question, did you really know what you were signing up for? You know, are you fully on board with the risk you're about to take? Like, I don't think he had any idea that he was going to fling him like that. I think he probably thought he's going to go slow like he did for the girl before.
Yep.
And just give him a quick little spin. But obviously that escalated quickly.
He got wrapped up in the click.
We'll see. It's gonna be a series of videos, so you'll see how it all unwinds. But in the meantime, Dobrik is taking even more heat for having been a driver on that.
Tough couple of months for him, eh?
He's kind of, yeah, definitely.